Hello all, and welcome back to APEC1, the home of all your local news here in Salem. Today we have some special news about the recent witch trials that have been taking place. Special eyewitness accounts from anonymous sources have allowed us to have an inside view of the exclusive trials taking place in our home. Starting with the story of Reverend Paris, his niece Abigail Williams, and his daughter Betty. Not so long ago, the two girls were discovered by Paris himself dancing in the forest one night. It is believed that they were practicing witchcraft at the time. Paris had found them when they had begun dancing, and his slave Tituba had been swaying and speaking gibberish over a fire, perhaps to conjure spirits. After being discovered, Betty lost consciousness and did not wake until later on the next day. When she finally did wake, she was screaming in pain from the hearing the words of God in a psalm led by Paris on the floor below her. The girls had involved themselves with witchcraft, and with the arrival of Reverend John Hale had revealed that not only were they themselves involved with the devil, but a number of others in Salem were as well. Tituba and the girls agreed to tell Hale the names of those involved with the devil, in exchange for the clearing of their own names. This begun the hunt for any witches within the community. We shall return to the story and tell you more about the trials right after this commercial break.
Orange. Oranges. They're good for you. We're back. We're back.
And we are back. For those of you just turning in, we have been discussing the recent witch trials that occurred here in Salem and how exactly they started out. Not long after Reverend Paris and his house were revealed to be involved with witchcraft, a collection of other women were accused of witchcraft as well. Reverend Hale set out the night of the first trial to meet the accused and make his own judgments on them to help him during the trial. The decision was made that those who confessed to their sin of witchcraft would be permitted to live. However, those who did not confess and refused to admit to their involvement with the devil were sent to be hanged for their crime. Some women who had confessed to previous involvements with witchcraft, such as Abigail Warren, entered the court to help them find the witches hidden among them. However, there was also rumor that Abigail had wrongly accused women, such as Elizabeth Proctor, of witchcraft as a sort of vengeance. It is said that Abigail had committed adultery with John Proctor before all this word of witchcraft even came into being. Had such a fact been known at the time, the court may have doubted Abigail's words far more than they did. And now we're getting to the trials themselves. After word from our local weatherman, we shall tell about the trials and how the accused witches' own husbands came to their aid.
Hello, and I'm James Lloyd, the weatherman for APEC1. From what we can tell, it will be sunny for the next few days, though it's possible it will rain instead. That is all. Back to the original story.
And here's our original story. The trials were interrupted sometime after their beginning by Giles Corey. He entered the court and shouted that his wife was innocent. When Deputy Governor Danforth pulled him aside out of the courtroom to speak, Francis Nurse and John Proctor arrived to plead for their wives' innocence. To do so, Proctor informed Danforth that Abigail and the rest of the girls accusing others of witchcraft were lying to him and the rest of the court. However, Paris argued that Proctor himself was a liar and related to the devil. Proctor was then accused of attempting to overthrow the court. Ezekiel Cheever revealed the fact that Proctor had ripped the warrant given to him by the court and had even besmirched its name. Hale also admitted that it was true. However, he seemed to try to help Proctor by agreeing with his claims against Abigail. In the end, Abigail was brought in to see Proctor and say her own piece. She argued against him the entire time. However, when he revealed the fact that he had indeed committed adultery with her, those who had heard the accusation gave pause and listened closely to what Proctor had to say. After he mentioned his wife's knowledge of the situation and her inability to lie, she was brought in to testify for him. Yet, instead of agreeing with him, she said that he had never done such a thing. After that, she was taken away, and Mary Warren, Proctor's servant at the time, apparently attacked Abigail and the other girls with her spirit. After that ordeal, Mary revealed that Proctor had been the one to make her sign herself over to the devil. The accusations proved too much to ignore, and Proctor was arrested under the crime of being involved with the devil and trying to overthrow the court. Much time was spent after that trying to decide who would be hung by the end of the trials. We shall reveal it all to you in just a moment, after a word from our sponsor.
APCE1 News is brought to you by Krispy Kreme Donuts. Try our delicious new pumpkin spice donuts, only being sold for a limited time, so you better get some before they're all gone.
Hello and welcome back. Now, if you can recall, the trials were almost over. Months after the arrest of John Proctor, the trials had gone into a sort of a stalemate. People were unsure of whether they should believe the court or fight against it to save their fellow neighbors. Salem was in an uproar. The court was finally trying to do something to solve the problem when Proctor decided to confess. Unlike all of his fellows, he decided to give in to his own desires and confess to crimes he was not guilty of. However, after a talk with his wife and the pressure of the court, he changed his mind and refused to confess. In the end, Deputy Governor Danforth declared that all those accused of witchcraft that refused to confess would then be hung. Starting off with John Proctor. The trials have finally ended with the loss of many souls believed to be having relations with the devil. Reverend Paris has been voted from office and disappeared to an unknown location. There's rumor that Abigail has gone to Boston to work as a prostitute. Many have started to say that the trials were uncalled for and wrong, beginning a dispute that is slowly taking Salem by storm. Elizabeth Proctor, now a widower, is hoped to move on and continue with her life, regardless of her loss. And so the trials have ended, and so has our broadcast. We hope that the information we provided you with has been as accurate and informative as possible. Until next time, this has been APEC1 News, bringing you The Crucible by Arthur Miller. I'm Brianna Lloyd, wishing you a wonderful school day. Later.